Alright, today we're going to be talking about the WCMAX bicycle light. I got this on AliExpress. When I bought it, it was about $57. Now it's about almost 60, 59, 57 is what they listed it at. And I like to mountain bike, so I was looking for, a very bright headlight so I could ride at night. And this looks to be probably the brightest light you can find on AliExpress or anywhere actually. I didn't see anything like it on Amazon or any of the biking websites, so I went ahead and picked it up. It's kind of expensive for AliExpress, at least. At the bike shops and stuff, you're not going to find a light like this, but they got like 2 or 3 LED light headlights that they want, anywhere from $80 to $200. So prices are pretty outrageous. You can usually find a better deal on Amazon. But I just wanted to kind of give an overview of what comes with this. It's got a power pack here. It's 6 18650s batteries inside of it, and it's got the little connection right there. Power pack goes inside this this little nylon enclosure. Stuff it in there. Just put the connection in first through this little side panel, and then it just squeezes in there. It's a real tight fit, which is good, so it doesn't wobble around or fall out. And once you get it in there, there we go. You just put these flaps over and that covers it. And then you can put it on your top bar or wherever. Just got a Velcro holder on the side so you can see like that. This will run along to the light on your handlebars, and just connects right there. I'm not real sure how much I trust this Velcro, especially if you're riding on some real bumpy stuff or whatever, but I may look for a different way to enclose it. We'll see. Next, they give you these little bands that you use to connect the headlight to your handlebars. I don't know how much I trust these either. They're basically just like thick rubber bands. I'd rather see a connection that uses some kind of clamp, that you would use an Allen wrench to secure or something like that. But whatever. That's what I got. You got 2 of them depending on the size of what you're attaching it to. The light itself is like this. It's got 8 Cree XM-L2, I believe, is the style of light. I was looking at the Cree website for the spec sheet, and they have 2 outputs. They have max output is listed at 1198 lumens per LED chip, and then there's another output that's listed at 1052, I believe. So I'm not sure which one to believe, but anyway, you got 8 of them here, and the light itself is really solid. It's got a metal casing. It's actually got a glass lens on the front, which is good for scratch resistance, but if you wreck, that's probably going to crack, and I'm not sure how you'd replace something like that. So just be careful. On the bottom is this curved recess right here that's got rubber inside of it, and that would go on your handlebars like that. And then you would use these rubber straps to secure it, something like that. So you can see how it would go around your bar, just like that. It's got a switch on the back here. That's the only switch on it. It says WCMAX A8 bicycle light. The store I bought it from on AliExpress listed as Walkefire. It's spelled WALKEFIRE. I got it from the Fire Crossing Cycle Store. Seemed to have the best price on it, and I'll put a link to where I got it from too. So you got 8 LEDs, you got the rubberized power switch, and then you have the connection right here. So to connect it on the battery pack, it's got female input, and the light has the male output. And then it just screws on like that, so it's not going to come undone, which is pretty nice. Then you get this charger. The thing, one negative about this light is it takes forever to charge for the fully discharged battery. So I did a test on it to see how long it would last at full brightness, and I got just over 3.5 hours, which is pretty good, considering how much power these LED chips draw. And but to charge it, I charged it overnight, and there's a light on the back of the charger that's red while you're charging it and turns to green when it's charged. So overnight, still wasn't charged. Later that day, I think maybe 12 to 14 hours had elapsed before it finally hit a full charge. So just keep that in mind. If you want to go night after night, you're going to have to give it plenty of time to charge. So that's all you get in the box. Cree LED light, WCMAX bicycle light and headlight. Now onto the performance. This thing is super bright. Like, I couldn't believe how bright it was. I made the mistake of actually looking at it when I first hooked it up, and I was seeing spots for like a long time afterwards, to the point where I was like, well, maybe I actually damaged my eyes. So be careful with that. They went away eventually, but it took a while. On this switch right here, you got one position. I'm not going to point it at the camera because it's real bright, which is a full brightness. The second stage is kind of like a lower brightness, which really isn't much lower, and all full lights are still shining. I believe it's just a wattage drop. And then the next one is like a strobe, full power strobe, and then the fourth one, it just turns it off. So that's how that works. I believe this is probably the brightest light you can find. I haven't found anything brighter. The site listed at 9600 lumens, which I'm kind of suspicious of. If you go to the Cree site where these LED chips are made, and you add up all 8, you get about 8800 lumens, and even that is under 10 watts per chip, and 8 of these would be 80 watts. So there's no way this thing is putting out 80 watts of power for 3.5 hours, even with 6 18650 batteries. But having said that, I don't have any kind of instrument to measure the lumens. So all I know is like it's super bright. When I did a test on it, I'll post the test, the actual brightness test on the street, and I had cars like honking at me that were driving towards me because it was so bright. It's brighter than a headlight, like brighter than 2 headlights on a car, even brighter than the bright setting on a bright headlight. So that's gives you an idea of like how much you can see with this thing. The spread is actually pretty nice too. You can't really see here, but you get kind of a concentrated spread in the middle, and then it kind of fans out towards the sides. And when you're on the bike, it's perfect actually for what you can see. If you're going to bike at night, especially trail riding, mountain biking, you're going to need some kind of helmet light too, so that you can turn and see where you're looking, as well as a bike light, so you can see, whichever way the bike is facing. You see that too. So you need 2 of them. You need something like this, and then a lower power helmet light. So the brightness is definitely the pro. The build quality is built really well. The nylon pack is pretty sturdy, actually. I was surprised. It even has the metal grommet right here that's on the side, that's sewed into the side. It's all the sewing seems pretty well made. So for the price, I think you get a lot of light for your buck. Like I said, the charging is kind of a bummer, how long it takes to charge. And one of the biggest negatives though is how hot this thing gets. It gets hotter than the goddamn sun. Like, you can't even touch it. It gets so hot. It burns your hand. So I don't know if that's going to affect like the build of the light or not eventually, because it gets so hot. When I did the test to see how long it lasted, it didn't seem to affect anything, melt anything that I could see. Even the rubber I switched, and this was just fine. But in the future, maybe it could be a problem. I don't know. What I was thinking about doing is maybe putting some kind of heat sink on top of here. I got a few examples here. Let's see. Something like this is real simple. It's just, you know, you could always put that on top, and that could help with heat dissipation a little bit. If you wanted something a little more heavy duty, you could go, you know, something like this. These are real cheap. You can get these on AliExpress too. This is on a metal frame, but it comes off of there, and you could just mount that on top. And or if you wanted to something a little lower profile, they have these little small aluminum heat sinks. You know, you could just put a few on top. That may help with heat dissipation. I don't know if I'm going to do that. If I notice that the heat actually affects the performance of the light, I may do something like that in the future, but we'll see. For now, I'm just going to use it as is. So just the charging and the heat that it puts out is really the only cons I've seen about this light. I've only had it for a couple of weeks, and I've used it a few times and haven't had any issues so far, and I'm able to see like every single thing in front of me. So that's what comes in the package, and we'll do an actual road test here in a minute, and I'll post that as well. So next we'll do the test so I can show you how bright it actually is. Alright, now I've had the camera or the light running for several minutes now. We'll take a temperature reading. I'll kind of show you the heat that I was talking about. Ambient temperature is 77 degrees. This is about 156, 157, somewhere around there. Almost 158. So you can see it gets really hot, very hot to the touch. It'll burn you, and like I said, that's one of the cons about this light. All right, so you see how I've got it mounted. See how I got it mounted? It just straps on right there to the front of the handlebars, or to the top of the handlebars, that rubber strap. And then the cable comes down, and then on my top tube I just got it velcroed right here. And the good thing about it is you can stuff all the wire in there so it doesn't get in the way. And it's pretty simple setup. You can see it's not really obtrusive or anything. And turn on, you just click that light, and that's it. So let's take a ride and see. Oh, look, there's a fox. I can get him in the picture. Huh. Hello. Anyway, so I'm going to turn off the light here. And we'll take a ride. See if I can catch this fox. I'm going to try and hold it. So I'll turn it off first. There we go. That's the strobe. Turn it off first. And I'll get going here. Okay, yeah, it's on full power now. Kind of see how bright it is. Basically lights up the whole street. This is pretty dark out here right now, so whole street is visible. Not on the trail, not close to a trail or anything, so I can't vouch for what it looks like on the trail, but guarantee you it's going to be just as bright. Turn in this little parking lot here. So yeah, you can see you got plenty of light. You have the small part that's kind of focused in the middle, and then the periphery light. It's more than enough to see where you're going. It works great. So I'll make a little turn around here. This is the parking lot. There we are. Let me turn it off. This is low power. There's a strobe, and that's off. So you can see how dark it is without it. Yeah, turn it back on. There you go. Lights up everything. Definitely the brightest light I've found so far on any site or at any store. Surprisingly, it's from AliExpress, so who would have thought? See if we can find those foxes. I don't see them. Oh well. Anyway, that's just a test of the brightness.